key, the coin, not the key, the coin from the mouth of the fish. They lost their coin. No one found a coin in the mouth of the fish? No? Oh, okay, so we're good. I mean, that's biblical to have coins in the mouth of fish. I mean, in those days, that was something very common.
Okay. Somebody requested, based upon what just happened, doxology. Ready? Praise God from whom all blessings flow. Praise Him, all creatures here below. Praise Him, all the heavenly hosts. Praise Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Amen.
This is our 5th site for the day, and I'm amazed to see only 2 buses here, and both of them are small. So it's only us, kind of like with a large, but we are a small group. So this is really, really rare. I mean, but okay, this is the period of time that we live in, that sites are like that at the moment. So Yair is going to back the bus to the parking, and then we will get off. Take your hat, sunglasses, the whisper, and camera, and your Bible. Jerry is going to share. Jerry, right? Yes. Jerry is going to share with us from the Word of the Lord about Capernaum. Of course, I will share about the archaeology and the site itself. I would say it in a joke, whatever I remember. Not the ancient Capernaum. This is Capernaum. There's no new or old. This is Capernaum. This is where, wherever you read in the Bible, and Jesus went to Capernaum, or he entered in a house in Capernaum. Whatever Capernaum, this is where you are. Wow. Here below us, there are remains of houses, streets. How do I know that? Because I saw remains of it. I mean, over there are houses. So why not here? Just that a tree grew here. That's natural, but it was a city that spread, or a town, or a large village that was spread all over, maybe a mile by a mile, something like that. So in those years, cities were not super big, but this one was, village farmers, no, farmer village that was based on fishing, masonry, and agriculture. That was what people did in those days. So, of course, fishing, because they were so close to the lake, and we know that Peter, he was not from here. He was from Bethsaida, but then he moved to here. And Jerry will tell you something later on about why Peter moved to here, right? So they had here a whole industry of fishing, farmers in the fields around, and masonry. And about the masonry, I will speak soon, because they found here. First of all, I mean, just look around you. You see a lot of the remains that were part of the synagogue and of some of the houses that were here. Now, from the Capernaum that Jesus visited or walked through, there's not much, sorry. Okay? Why? Because after the 1st century, these places was kind of a little bit neglected. Because, I mean, you can understand, it's not, although today you would say, I would love to build a villa here. Yeah. And many people would like to do it. But it was not so attractive in those days. Why? Because you want to live next to a main road, and you want to live where there is business. And here there was not much of business. Although there was a road that was passing from here on the way to Damascus, that was probably quite used. But it was not a super busy place. It was international, and there was probably here a lot of people from, again, the boats. There was here some merchandising of all kind of goods from east and west, but it was not as large as other cities that we know of, like Sidon in Lebanon of today. That was a fishing port, but also an export and import port. This was just a town next to the lake, kind of like live and let live. But they used to make a lot of millstones, because the basalt, not the white stones, the black stones are very hard, and so they could make all kind of tools, or not tools, but structures for construction and also for architecture that will be made from the basalt. So it was a busy place, and people were quite doing probably quite well. I mean, look how detailed some of these capitals or part of the cornice that were on the top. I mean, this is amazing. I mean, you pay in those years a lot to get a masoner to do such a work. So it was a very, very wealthy town. Then after the 4th century into the 5th century, it started to dim off, earthquakes again, and then the Muslims are coming, and then it deteriorate, and people left, and that's it. So it started to be covered with sand and debris, and no one cared about it. No one lived here. And then only in the, you can say, late 19th century, archaeologists, Catholic archaeologists, start to rediscover, and by discovering different pottery and coins and other remains and the synagogue itself, then they thought, like, can it be that this is Capernaum? And when all the proofs proved that this is Capernaum, then it became you can say a world site. So we have the synagogue, and right next to it, that kind of strange building. It looks like a spaceship. Is a Catholic church that is round, and right in the middle there is a square hall that look right on to what they believe is the house of Peter's mother-in-law. So what makes them think it is because, and we will go there after, I'm just using the shade, we will go and because we can get close to it, and it might be that they will allow to whoever wants to go into the church, but they found there remains of a house, and then it was surrounded with the remains of a church and another church. So when one single house have two churches built on top of it from different periods of time, probably someone lived there that was important, or there's something important. And then they found some, like I would say today, graffiti on one of the walls that they read the name of Peter there. So they think that was the house of Peter's mother-in-law. And later on they develop it more and more, as they do all the time, and they do it quite well. But we need to remember this was a Jewish village, and I don't know what Jerry is going to talk about, so I don't want to steal his part, but a lot of the stories that you read about, the crippled man that was lowered through the roof, the daughter of Jairus, I mean, a lot of stories happen right here. So Capernaum is we always say that there are A site, B site, and C site. A, for sure, biblical site. B, we're in the area of. C, tradition. This is a big A, capital A.
Why did, as they walked around the Sea of Galilee, why did Jesus ask Peter 3 times to, do you love me? Because he healed his mother-in-law. Is that the...
You just missed it.
Start over.
So, I gave you a lot of hints about the house of Peter's mother-in-law. So, why Jesus earlier today asked Peter 3 times to confirm, are you sure that you're loving me? So, to make sure that he's still loving him after he healed his mother-in-law. I loved my mother. Don't give me that look. Mothers-in-law are good, but in Judaism we have a lot of jokes about them.
Yeah.
A bottom part without the upper part, that the cone, like a
Yes.
pyramid.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Now try in your imagination to move the one with the ears on top of the other one. Then you understand what is going on. There are two parts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Fits over that.
It's a cone.
I don't know
Fits
where you're
over the
going
cone.
with it, but
Okay, I'm building it up.
I'm with you.
Okay.
He's gonna get there.
Yeah. So the upper part with the two ears, you see that there are two holes in the ears.
Yes.
On those holes, or not in the holes, but on the side of these ears, there were two beams, wooden beams.
Okay.
Okay?
Oh,
Go to the side. And then on the top, which we cannot see at the moment, on the top, that's where they would put the grains.
Okay.
Wheat, barley, whatever it was. And then, like at home, or in the restaurant, when the waiter is putting pepper on your steak and you turn it, try to imagine that this thing was turning. So the top part with the two ears would turn around, either by two people, slaves, or a donkey, or a bull, but it will be turned around the whole day, and they will keep putting more grain on the top, and then the flour will fall down between the two pieces. Okay, so it's a grinder, and then on the around it they will put a cloth, and they will collect the flour, and maybe they will put it again because they want it to be more fine. Now, when archaeologists found skulls of people from 2,000 years ago or even more, they found that many times their teeth were grinded because their breads were many times with small stones that they chew accidentally. So they had a very much grinded teeth because they grinded them. Either it was a place of production, or they had so much wheat and barley that they were selling flour to others. So we're talking about a mass production of products, either stones or flour. And that means that this place was, again, wealthy enough to produce all that. There is a good example of one. He's laying down on the top, under the white stones. So you can see the whole structure of it, with the hole and the square where those are the ears. So this is one of the examples of millstones, and you can see also that these are remains of houses, and we will see more houses similar to this when we will go out of the synagogue. But let's go into the synagogue, unless there are questions. So that's a bit more than 300 years after Christ was here. And the disciples. Now, where this synagogue is from, because all around here we don't have this limestone. This is limestone, very solid limestone. We don't know, but we do know that it was somewhere else. It was taken apart like a Lego. They put it on cars, brought it to here, and rebuilt it again. The whole entrance, but you in Jewish homes, and I'm sure that if you're going in Memphis, probably there are Jewish neighborhoods.
Sure.
So you'll see that Jewish homes, they will have that thing hanging in an angle. Now people asking why is it in an angle?
Yeah.
I haven't read anywhere where it says how to put it, but one explanation that I heard, that it's in an angle that you go in, because you want to remember when you go in, the authority of the Lord is above me. Another explanation that I heard, my sister traveled in Spain, and that's the explanation that she heard there from the guide over there, is that Jews originally put it like that, but then Christians would come and make a line and make it like a cross. And I'm saying it because it goes back to the other conversation.
Yes, yes.
So Jews said, oh, so let's put it this way. Then they cannot make it a cross. So
Oh.
again, I mean, I'm just giving you these little hints that Jews have some vocabulary that we don't use because it have connotations that not all of us are comfortable with. So just whenever you approach, you need to be sensitive with that. I mean, does it make sense?
So if a Jewish person came to Christ, perhaps they'd want to straighten up their mezuzah.
No. Usually Jews don't remove the mezuzah when they become believers. Anyone forgot a cover for the camera? Or want a new one?
Just picking up covers. Oh, is that
Another thing that I wanted to share is, as you can see, compared to the one that we saw in Migdal, where the hotel is, compared to the one that you saw in Nazareth, compared to other places, this is quite a large one. I mean, a big number of people. I don't want to say 400, that's what I thought, but I think that close to 400 people could sit, and archaeologists estimate that there was also a second floor. So they think that it was quite a massive building with another floor, you can say like a balcony, and roof tile roof. Why I'm saying roof tile? Because it was built by the Jews, but with very strong influential of the Romans, and the Romans used the roof tiles. So probably it had roof tiles and a balcony or a flyover balcony, and then in the middle it would be open. Then in the middle, towards the entrance, there will be the table where they will put the scrolls, and that's where the rabbi or the one that was entitled to read, he will read the scriptures of that Shabbat. So every Shabbat we read, even today. Today's Shabbat is Saturday. Today, all over the world, well, it started here in Israel, but now it's 2:30. So now Jews in Memphis are going to the synagogue, and they will read the same scriptures that were read all over. All over the world, they will read the same scriptures. So, and that's something also unique about, you can say about Judaism, that it's a language, but also a religion or a tradition that was kept for 2,000 years, the same things. You can take Jews from Argentina and Jews from Iraq and Jews from London, they will all pray the same prayer, or they will read the same way, and that's quite amazing. Because if you take a Chinese person from Shanghai or from Wuhan, not necessarily that they will understand one another. So it's quite amazing that we kept the Lord kept the language and the religion or the faith in so close and so tight. Now yesterday I showed you at Migdal the room that was kind of before the synagogue. So we know that almost every synagogue will have such a room. Also this one have, not in the front, but over there to the side where that lady is standing. And how do I know that many children probably were there? Because there are many games that were engraved in the stones. We can go to see that. Limestone is hard, but it's still, you can if you take a harder stone, you can engrave in it. Now I told you earlier that the floor was dug, so you can see that they put instead this concrete. So they unearthed all what was here. A lot of it was damaged because of earthquake. So a lot of what you see was made many years ago, including this steel beam to strengthen it. It was all in pieces. So the archaeologists put it back to what they think it was looking like, and they checked the floor to see what was under. They put up these pillars back, and you can see that the pillars are not completed. So this capital is much higher. But they kind of giving us the idea of how it looks like. And again, the same structure like we saw in the church, the basilica, which is a rectangle structure, seats all around, rows of pillars. Sometimes there will be so many, sometimes there will be just 6. Sometimes there will be only one side of pillars. if it's a small synagogue, if it's like a neighborhood synagogue. So it will be much smaller. And then it will always face towards.
East.
You are good, but not this time.
Jerusalem.
Towards Jerusalem.
South.
So in this case, it will be south, but not always Jerusalem will be on your south. Depends where you are in the country. If you're in Elat, then you will pray towards the
North.
Exactly. You're good. You got your bearings. So, any questions? Yeah. The engraving is in. This is in Latin. That one is in Greek. Where is it?
You go first.
So, like in the hospital, you have the panels. Mr. So and so donated. So.
Dedication.
So it's a easy way for us to understand it. If I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but there was a person that came to Jesus and said, "Can you heal my servant?" And all that, and the people said to him, "Yeah, please help him, because he helped a lot with the synagogue." So that the name of that person will be like that. Oh, Mr. Smith or Jones or whatever. So it's something like that.
Dedication.
Okay. Oh, by the way, it was a mixed city. So we have synagogue,
Yeah.
we have a church over there, but also probably during the time of Yeshua, there was no church, because Christianity was not yet a religion, but there were Jews, Orthodox Jews, let's say religious Jews, and there were probably, you can say, Messianic Jews that believed that Yeshua is the Messiah, and we had the Romans. How we know that? Because there is the story that the centurion, centurion coming from the word the word century, which is 100 years, centurion, he's a commander of 100 people. So it's quite a high rank. And he came and he said, "Please, I have a servant that I love very much and I need him very much." And what Jesus said to him, "Even among Israel I haven't seen faith like yours." And the man said, "Listen, I know what is authority. I mean, we invented it." So he understood what is authority. He knew that, and he believed that Yeshua have the authority to say to a sickness to go, and the sickness will go. So. These are the cypress, so they will cut off the branches, and then there is it's a very solid wood. So they will do the process to prepare it, and then these are the trees that will be used for the weights of the press, oil press, and for constructing a house. Every house will have at the ground floor the furnace or the kitchen. So that round thing used to be the fireplace where they will cook the food.
Wow.
That's where they will store also the bull, the tractor of those days, the donkey, the plow, other machines that they need. And then in the second floor, that's where they will live. They will not live on the ground.
So this is all one,
This is a few houses. It's a compound of
a
houses.
compound, okay.
The mother-in-law will be on the. And there's nothing underneath. So it's quite amazing. From the engineering point of view, this is quite amazing how they build this building. And why?
Keeps you in suspension.
Sorry?
Keeps you in suspension.
So what they discovered after they did all the archaeological digs here is, first of all, remains of houses. First house over there in the middle, and then in one of the walls there is this plaster where there's engraving of the name of Peter, and that's why they think that was the house of Peter and mother-in-law. And they think that was the first, what we call home church. Okay, ecclesia. in the home church. And then you can see that there are two octagons, two buildings that were after that were built behind that house, or not behind, but over this house. So there is you can say a series or houses that were overlapping, one on top of the other. The first one is from the 1st century, and the others are going all the way back to the not back, all the way forward to the 6th century. And then this one is from the 20th century. And every day they have a mass there, and the priest, there are priests and nuns here, nuns that live here. I don't remember how many. I think 3. Yeah, not too many nuns. Yeah. Or angry nuns. Actually, the ones that are here are not angry. they are quite friendly. Okay.
None of that.
Light through those inside windows. And then I just stopped here because I saw this stone, and remember I told you about those guys that had a profession of making roofers. Okay, so they will put mud on the roof on top of those logs, then they will have a stone like that with 2 pieces of metal. It will be like a mower, and then they will roll it back and forth. And have you heard about the Talmud? The Talmud is and then they will mix, so there will be kind of 2 containers that will hold water. They got water from that valley over there. It used to flow with water, but not anymore because of earthquakes, so the spring is not active anymore. But this mikveh used to be fed by groundwater and water from the spring, so people could do their ritual bath and keep their, you could say, their Jewish lifestyle. And it was covered, so they will have their privacy when they do that. You saw that animal? We might see some animals. First of all, there are lizards. You saw the rock badger?
Yeah.
Okay.
And a lizard about this big.
So the rock badger is a furry animal, look like that, like a guinea pig. Anyone had a guinea pig as a child? So try to imagine as a guinea pig on steroids. So they're about this big, pointy nose. They're eating seeds and grass, so they're vegans.
See the lizard? He's jumping up.
And there's lizards.
See him up
Yeah,
on this, up on that,
Oh, yeah,
up on the column there,
Where-
up on the side, on the
Oh,
side wall.
Yeah. Yeah. He's doing push-ups.
It's a guy
So-
commercial.
I think that's
Sorry?
It's a guy commercial.
the go. Never mind.
Yeah. The one of Chorazin. But no, I mean, I think it's a nice way to make a circle, because we spoke about it that Jesus said to woe to you Bethsaida, woe to you Chorazin, and woe to you Capernaum. So we saw the one in Capernaum. You saw that it was quite an impressive one. I know this is dark stone, but if you look at the decoration, this is even more impressive, because this is much harder stone than the limestone that we saw earlier. So and look at just a little bit of the decoration that they have. I mean, These people put a lot of money. Question, how much was in their heart? Now, Yeshua spoke about the seat, that everybody liked the front seat and that people will kiss their hands. So they moved it, but there used to be here a seat. And if I'm not mistaken, it's this one here. I think they moved it to here. I have it here outside, but this thing is a replica, but it used to be over here. And Yeshua spoke also about that. Jesus spoke about the seat of Moses. And what is the seat of Moses? Also, that's the kind of the honorary seat where whoever read or whoever is going to share will sit on that seat. So there was a lot of pride and a lot of me, I, and myself in the people that were very corrupted then, and unfortunately we have some of them even today. So I can understand totally when archaeologists are finding more to say why he said woe to you to those cities. Chorazin also survived only until about the 6th century. Then because of earthquakes and lack of water, and then when you have lack of water you cannot survive too long here, so people left, and this place slowly things fall down until archaeologists coming and rebuilding it. And the guy at the entrance that was selling the ice cream, he told me this is very exciting site today because there is an active dig in, like where you see those the blue tarp you say tarp, and there is another site that I'm going to take you before we get to the bus, just on the way out, and they're still digging. So not now, but from June, then usually groups of students from some academic institute will come, and many times it's Americans, and then they come and the whole summer they dig here, and then at the end of every day they sift, number, document, and then usually after a few years there will be a little booklet or a book about about the findings. So whoever is a nerd here and like to read these things, then Israel producing quite a lot of archaeological material to read and to fall asleep very fast. Because most of the time it's a bit boring. It's like we found a stone 12 inches long, wide, and 2 inches, it's like come on, get to the point. Yeah, that is the point, yeah. No.
Is that a metal beam up there? From here? It's
Metal beam,
That's what I
yeah,
thought, yeah.
What's the detail on this, or the decorative piece and the?
On the top or on the one at the bottom?
Both. Kind of. What's the style here?
So it's a very some of it is, I cannot say biblical, but some of it will be with grapes, which you can say fit to be biblical.
Right.
Yeah.
And but most of it coming from the Greek. So that half shell you see almost in every temple. You can see it also back at home. Whenever you see a government building, usually there will be a triangle, and under and somewhere in the triangle there will be that thing. A lot of it have a spiritual significance, wrong spiritual significance, that go to all kind of places that we don't want to be as believers. And then you can see those decorations are just different architecture ornaments. Oh, so much water. We will drive here again, don't worry. We will drive here again on the way back. So if you didn't make a picture now, I tried to give you a warning. I told histories. They think that Bethsaida, that Peter and his brother Andrew that was Bethsaida over there. And they have very strong evidence. The thing is that it's a site that is still under a dig, and we cannot reach it with a bus or with a private car. We need a four-wheeler because of the conditions of the road. And then there's another archaeologist that think that it was over here. To the left side of the bus there is a hill, and over there he said that he found the original Bethsaida. The thing is, it doesn't make so much sense that the hill will be, the Bethsaida will be so far away from the lake when they were fishermen. So he's saying that the lake was closer. So the argument will be probably continue until they will find either a synagogue or church, a first or not church, not a first, but third century church, then they can say this is the original Bethsaida, but or something else that will prove. But there is an ongoing argument between the archaeologists, and if you are a nerd, then there is a it started as a magazine. Today it's also a website that is called BAR, B-A-R, Biblical Archaeological Review, and it's a very good one, and they write amazing articles, not boring, not like this stone is like, not like what I described earlier, something a little bit more with the meat in it. So if you want, you can look over on their website, and there's an interesting article giving the support for each site.
Yes.
Signs with a little bit of red. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So, start with the east. Above us, above the road, you can see the Golan Heights and those yellow signs with the red triangle are warning against mines. Why? Because until 1967 that was a Syrian land. And over here where we are, and Don will share about it, there was a position, a Syrian army position. Okay? And then in 1962, because they were attacking the fishermen that were fishing down here, because the border was 30 yards from the water line inland. So this was Syria, down there Israel. Okay, and that's why now you can understand why we had to have the 6-day war and push the border a little bit further away. If we go to that direction, we see the northern part of the lake, and then it's a little bit hard to, but you see where there is the antenna close to us. Continue with the shore from the antenna to the left, you see where the bush is ending, and then go straight above it.
Yeah.
There is a valley there. That's the Jordan Valley that continues all the way to Turkey.
Oh.
The Syrian African Rift.
Yes.
Okay? Then the high mountains that we see across from the lake, these are the mountains of the Upper Galilee. The Upper Galilee, so they're rising up to 3,000 feet. And then if we go a little bit more to the right, you see those white covers. That's where we sailed in the morning. These covers are covering banana orchard.
Yeah.
And then if we go a little bit more to the right, we see Mount Arbel.
Oh yeah.
And then at the bottom of Mount Arbel, that's where our hotel is.
Mm-hmm.
So we are exactly across from the hotel of where we are staying. Then if we go a little bit, and you can see Mount Arbel, we call it the tooth that is sticking out.
See it.
Okay,
It's a good mark.
that's where we were the other day. And then if we go more to the right, we see another antenna or something sticking out there. Because we're against the sun, so we don't see, but there is a city there, the city of Tiberias. Okay? And then if we go more to the right, all the way to the end, that's where the Jordan leave the lake and continue all the way down originally till the Dead Sea, and that's where probably Jesus was baptized and John had his activity.
How many miles around the lake?
70 kilometers, which will be about 55 miles.
Okay.
Now you're going to hear why we brought you to here.
Okay, we're going to come down and meet our friends. You want to interpret for them?
He spends an hour a day in the gym to look like this, man.
Yes, so folks, here it comes. If you want to be ready with your camera, 3, 2, 1, here it is. Jordan, mighty Jordan River. If anyone